All right, what's up, y'all? So I'm LA. Like, I'm gonna comment like on the video as far as like Cat Williams interview, and also the other video to the young man that I'm stitching this from. All right, so when it come down to tithing, personally, I feel like you should tie back to the church, and just because back in the day they used to give food or clothes and stuff like that in commodities versus giving money or shillings back in the day, right? Gold, nickel, whatever they had, which was money back in the day. So either way, they still were tithing to the church. And this was tithing in a different form. I do think that some churches have, in a way, deprived the community of resources that have been intaken into the church from tithing. But here's the thing, though. You know, we don't really know what's going on inside of these churches, and things are becoming more and more expensive every day. And just like any sound person, the church is an entity. We are also entities. We cannot take care of everybody, right? And a lot of times there have been, and I've seen this myself, where some people will misuse the church, for their kindness as well. I will say this too. I got into some trouble back in the day where somebody, actually it was some people from the church that was coming at me crazy. I had got into this internet beef and some people was coming at me crazy, right? Now me, I'm the type of person, like, I'm chill, I'm cool, but if you provoke me, there's a possibility I'm gonna come back at you and I'm gonna hit you hard. So basically I was telling them, I was like, yo, how you gonna come at me, saying that I ain't doing nothing, I ain't about nothing, this is that and the third. And I was like, for first off, most of y'all don't even take care of y'all own communities, this is that and the third, yada yada yada. Now I wasn't talking to the church. Now, if you understand me, I don't like doing subliminals. People know me, I don't like doing subliminals at all. Because of situations like this where you be talking to like 6 people and then next thing you know, the whole world think that you talking to them. And it's not the truth. But I was just like, how you gonna say anything about me? You not talking, you not taking care of your own communities. You're not doing this, that, and the third, and yada yada blah blah blah. So a lot of people from my hometown had got really really upset about that, right? So then they started trying to put these labels on me, talking about, oh, you boasting, you think you better than everybody, and you think you doing this and doing that. And truth be told, I don't think that. At that particular point in time, I wasn't giving all this money to people. I was spending time with people, right? Mainly I was working with like homeless people, trying to reform them in the way that I could at that time, right? And I remember I got so frustrated, with trying to like reform their mind, and that was just because me being impatient, right? Because change does take time. But for me, that's tithing. You know what I mean? You sit down and you spend time with some of these people that's homeless. You sit down and you spend time with them and talk to them like they regular people. You sit down and you try to work with them on whatever it is that they going through mentally that's keeping them stuck in the position that they in their life. That's tithing to me. You know what I mean? But the only problem is right, is that you have to keep your donations and your charitable contributions quiet, right? Because when you put that out on the internet, and I think this is why a lot of people seemingly don't tithe or don't understand how to tithe outside of just, money, the church. And honestly, I really, really hope, goodwill for Cat Williams after this. And it's nothing personal. It's just something that I've been through myself. When you start telling people, how or different ways to give back to the community or different ways that you tithe or do charitable things, these people there are some spirits out here, even people in the church, that literally will attack you, your integrity, and who you say you are, to try to condemn you just so that they don't have to change what they are or are not doing in their lives. And I'm not saying this to be me, and I'm not targeting anybody specifically. I'm just speaking on the things that I have been through, right? Because I remember, like, it'll be things that I would be saying online, right? And so every time I would say something online, there would always be a case in point, an instance, a coincidence that would happen in which people would try to challenge me on the things that I'm saying, to try to make me look stupid or try to put me in some position to where it make me look like I'm a liar. And like, case in point, right? Where people will get upset with me and they'll be like, oh, well, you don't put your tithes back in church. You don't put your tithes back in church. But here's the thing. Number one, church is supposed to be free. That's number one. You know what I mean? Church is supposed to be free. God said, come as you are. If I come and I don't have no money, you shouldn't be able to use that against me. That's number one. Number two, if I'm giving back to the community, right, in some type of way, whether it be sitting down having conversations with, homeless people so they don't snap off, hurt somebody, hurt themselves, or even just brighten their day, because that's simple to do. Because most of the time we just give, like, when we see somebody that's in need, we just give them money and walk off. You know what I mean? But how many of us actually sit there and spend time with them and try to help them or reform them in some type of way? And most of the time, like, when it come down to people that's down on their luck, you really don't even have to help them. They grown. They know exactly what to do. Sometimes they just want somebody to sit there and listen to them. Sometimes they just want somebody to treat them like a normal human being. To me, that's tithing. You feel me? Or like you meet an entrepreneur that's down on their luck, you know what I mean? And they're trying to figure out, how do I get my business off the ground? What's missing? You know, what do I need? You sit down and you talk to them, you talk with them through it. They'll figure it out. That's tithing. Because whatever that entrepreneur is going to make off of whatever you just inspired them to do, they should and they are going to put it back into the community. And if you are not sure if they're going to put it back into the community or not, while you sitting down there having that conversation, make sure you reiterate the fact that whatever you take, you put it back. And it's for real. But tithing is not just a financial thing. There are some people who do not have the time to sit down and volunteer. So yes, they will give money. There are some people who have the time, but they don't have the money. And yes, they volunteer in that way. One thing I learned growing up in the hood, right, is that we would see a lot of drug addicts and fiends in the hood, right? And so a lot of people would pay them to like do like little odd jobs for them or whatever to get them, make sure they get some money, make sure they get some food, you know, whatever. And to be honest, that's tithing. It really is. You know, back into the community. But then when we talking about the church, right, as far as tithing, like that's a little bit more of a complex situation. Because the church is obligated to take care of its people first. Then they have to reach out to the community. Right? And a lot of churches, even though they may look big, nice and pretty, or they've been standing a long time, some of them really actually don't have that tithe money to give back into the community. And some of them haven't figured out different ways to give back because so many people are expecting them to give back financially. When the truth is me growing up in the church that I grew up in, my church gave back in so many different ways that was not financial. It's ridiculous. Like, we had all type of ministries going up. They had youth and young adult ministries. They had a woman's ministry where their ministry would teach you the right path of righteousness, or how to walk with Jesus, you know what I mean, and become a woman at the same time, and how to put back into your community, whether it be financial or not. They had deacon board, you know, like young deacons, where they would try to teach them how the word of God, but also teach them how to put back into the community. You know what I mean? And to me, honestly, I think that it's not a matter of the members that need to figure out how to tithe. I think it's a matter of a conversation that needs to be had inside of the church, inside of the religion overall, of what do the people need in the community, and what does the people in the church need, and how can the church help them, whether it be financial or not. Because sometimes just having a buddy you can go and talk to or go and pray with, that's important. I used to see older people in the church all the time do that. They have little certain people in the church that they were mentor or whatever. They'll know they was going through some struggles. They'll call them and take them under their wing, pray with them, whatever they need to do. I used to see people do that all the time. To me, that's tithing. You know what I mean? That's tithing. You know, I see soup kitchens all the time where like homeless people will go and they'll go get food and stuff like that. And I think that's great. But then what? How do we reform them? How do we get them off the streets? You know, what's next? You know, how else do we tithe? Because I feel like tithing is more than just giving a little bit. You know, everybody has to play their role in tithing. Everybody has to play their role. If we talking about community-wise, everybody got to play their role. Sometimes it's simply just giving them a little money to do an odd job. Sometimes it's sitting down there praying with somebody. Sometimes it's sitting there just having a conversation with somebody. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's putting your money back into church. And really, I feel like everybody should put their money back into church, even me. But if you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Don't stress yourself. And that's how I feel about it. You know, I don't feel like giving financially to a church should block your blessings. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. But hey, I'm not a preacher, so I can't speak on it. I really can't. But one thing I learned from atheists is that being a good person should bring you goodwill, regardless of what your religion is or if you tithe or not. Because at the end of the day, we all tithe in different ways, or we should, you know. Understand that self-preservation comes first, but we all should tithe in different ways. Or we should play our role in different ways. I say this all the time. Play your role, respond accordingly, achieve the goal, and win. And this is a way to do that. Longer podcast later.